Hi guys, so today I'm just going to show you how to make this really simple headband. Now this one is 70 stitches to start with. I'm going to just make a sample piece because it'll make the quicker video, so I'm only going to do 20 stitches, but when you cast on please make sure you do 70 or whatever you need to get the size you want. This size it fits approximately a 22-inch head. It's a little loose on my head. I'm 21.5 inches, so it's a little loose on my head, but it would be okay. There's plenty of give in it to go on another say 23-24-inch head, I would have thought, but I don't actually have someone with that size head, so I don't know. But you could just increase the stitches if you need to, or if you've got someone, if you're making it for a child or something and you need a smaller one, just do less stitches. There's no worry about having to do a set number to meet a pattern on this. You can take one off, you can take 10 off, you can take whatever number you like off to get it to the size that you want. So it's a really simple pattern. But what we're going to be doing, this is crochet, but as you can see it mimics the knitted stockinette stitch. And this is called waistcoat stitch. It's also known as crochet knit stitch and center post single crochet in the US. Obviously this is a US single crochet, all my terms are US. But it's a really simple stitch. It's single crochet, but it's done in a specific place, not where we would normally do it, to create this stitch. So that's all we're going to do. So I'm going to show you what we need and how to get this done. And remember, you will need more stitches than I'm doing. I'm just doing a sample piece. Let's just pop this head out the way. So the yarn I'm using is just DK weight. This is a lovely pumpkin colour. I can't actually remember the name of it, I'm really sorry. But basically you can pick any colour you like really, but this is DK weight, double knitting weight, which I don't know the American equivalent, I'm really sorry, because I'm US, sorry, try that again, because I'm UK, I have UK weights, even though I use the US terms, just to confuse you some. So you might have to get a chart up to check what a DK weight is for your area, but double knitting, 8 ply is what it's classed at, so we can see if it works. But because of the stitch that we're using, let me just grab this a minute, so this is not the headband, but because the stitch we're using creates a nice thick cozy fabric, we actually go up. So normally with a DK weight yarn you'd use a 4mm hook. We are actually going to use a 6mm hook, if I can get it to focus. Doesn't want to. There we go. So we're using a 6mm hook. That's 2 whole sizes up. Now whenever you're doing this stitch for anything, I do recommend going up at least 1 needle size, if not 2. I really hope this wind isn't bothering anyone. I will try to squish it down, but we are experiencing high winds here at the moment. Nothing compared to what America's currently experiencing, but still enough to interfere with filming. So hopefully it won't be too bad. So, okay, so we're just going to start with a normal slip knot. So I've got my knot there. You know how to do a slip knot by now, I expect. And so I'm going to chain 20, but you chain 70. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Make sure you keep it loose because you'll need loose stitches through the whole of this. Using the bigger hook helps, but you also need to keep the stitches loose. Don't have too much of a high tension. Okay, so we're just going to, once you've got your 70, you want to just join in the round. So I go straight in with the single crochet because we're going to be working in a spiral anyway. So now we're going to just work around, doing for this row we just do single crochets the whole way round. So obviously that's just go through, yarn over, pull through, go through 2. Remember to keep it loose because we will need to go into these V's here that we're creating, so you've got to keep it loose. Don't worry about holes. Once this fabric builds up so that loose fabric we're doing actually becomes quite firm. So you don't have to worry about this being holey if we're doing loose and using a 6mm hook on a DK weight yarn, because believe me, this fabric will get so nice and thick it won't matter. You won't really see any holes. So just going around, you obviously will have 70 on yours, so you'll take a little longer than me, so just, well, unless you're super fast obviously, so just pause, get your 70 chains and your 70 single crochets all the way around. Don't worry too much about the edge because we can always do a extra row edging on it, which is what I did on the messy bun cap. You just do a slip stitch row around it and it looks really neat. Okay, so I've done my first round. I'm all the way back to the beginning, so as you can see I've done basic single crochets all the way in my chain, and now I'm on to the next stitch that would be back at the beginning. But normally, if I just get my small hook so I can show you this. Okay, so when it focuses, okay, normally when you're doing your next stitch you'd go in here. That's your stitch there, isn't it? And then your next stitch is there. But what we're actually doing is going between these stitches. See, it creates a post. If you look closely, you can see it's created a V. And we're actually going to go right in the middle of that V and come out the other side. Now, on this side, the back of it, what you're going to see is this little bump. You see an upside down V and a bump. That's where you're going to come out, just under that bump at the top of the upside down V. So it just goes in there and out there, and that's where your stitch is going to be all the way around. So I'll just show you. It's easier to see once I've done a couple, so if you hold off, if you're stuck, and just let me get a couple done, and then you'll be able to see, okay? Provided my camera focuses. So we're just doing normal single crochets, we're just doing them in a different place. Remember to keep it loose, because this one here is what's creating that V we're going to be going through. So just go through. So next one, find the V. It can be a little fiddly to start with until you get the hang of it. Keep it loose. As I said, I'll show you a bit more once I've done a couple more, so then you can hopefully see where they're going. Okay, so can you see it's created this kind of stockinette thing, because instead of going in that hole, we've gone in that V there, right underneath. And it's going in, I'm going to show you, going in that V. A bit hard to keep it the right direction while doing this on camera. Poking it through, so it's come out under that bump. You just yarn over and pull through it as you normally would. You've come out in that V, and then this one creates the V that's on top. So there, you see, that's created the V. And that's all it's doing. Can you see how it's creating the V's stacked on top of each other, just like in a stockinette? And that's what we're doing for the whole lot. So we're just single crocheting all the way around again. And this is why it doesn't matter how many stitches you got, because this is the pattern that you're going to follow the whole way. Remember, keep it loose, because if you have too tight you'll find it hard to get your crochet hook through. But if you ever do it too tight, just have a smaller hook to poke through, pull the yarn through, and then put the yarn on this one before you finish off the stitch. And that should help you create the stitch from the previous row if you've done it too tight. So never worry if you have gone too tight, it just gets a little more fiddly, that's all. But Oh, I think the clouds have just covered the last bit of remaining sun here, so I'm really hoping it hasn't gone too dark for you guys. Remember, we're just keeping this loose all the way around. Basic single crochet, so you're going to go in your post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. So I don't actually remember what a single crochet is called in UK terms, I'm really sorry. But a quick Google should show you what it is. If I remember, I'll make sure I'll include it in the description below. And this will of course have a blog post with the pattern written down for you, but it's so simple that once you've read it once you'll know what you're doing and you'll be good. I'm only doing a video with it because of the stitch I'm doing is so different than what we normally do with a basic single crochet. It creates such a nice thick fabric. So there you go, so we're back to the beginning again, as you can see. This end you can weave in there and that will tidy up that and bring it all in line, and nobody will be able to see where your end is, because if I grab the headband down in a minute and show you. Here's the end in there. Now other than the slight difference here, you can't actually see where one row begins and the other finishes. Come down so it stops trying to focus badly. See, so it's just, even though we're done in spiral, it's really hard to see that you've done it in spiral, unless you're looking like super close, you know. So don't worry if your edge is slightly off, you can just weave it in and secure your ends that way to tidy up the edge, which I always have to do. I don't know what I do wrong, it always goes like that. So we're just going to keep going through into that V. I'm going to do this for 10 rows. So that's literally the pattern. Chain 70, do one single row of single crochets, and then you're into the waistcoat stitch going through the V's to do single crochets around for 10 rows. So it's really easy pattern. It's just purely that you're doing the stitch into a different place. So hopefully this should be pretty easy for even beginners. But do let me know if you need to know anything else, if I've not explained it or if I've not shown it well enough. I know that it's just got dark in here now because it's getting windy and stormy. But hopefully you can still see. I wonder if I adjust this slightly, that will bring it up. No, it doesn't seem to be adjusting it. Don't know if it did for you. Let's try this, shall we? That might create too much of a glare, I don't know. Certainly lit it up, but whether it's going to create too much of a glare for you, I don't know. I really hope it doesn't. But as I said, this is really simple, and the hat, the messy bun hat, and the wrist warmers, or fingerless gloves, whatever you like to call them, are all on the same basis as this. It's just a stitch count and then the increases and decreases that are different. Whereas the headband, you don't need any increases or decreases, it's just flat. This stitch is designed to be worked in the round. There's two ways of doing it flat. Neither produce quite as perfect alignment as doing it in the round. So, let's see, we're back at the beginning again already. So, can you see how that's just forming? And as you see, we've done 3 rows now. And it's just going to end up like that. So really simple. So let's just, I'm going to speed through and do the 10 rows and then meet you back, okay? Okay, so I've just completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, all inclusive. Now obviously you're going to go to 10 rows, but as I'm only doing a sample, we're just going to call it quits here, because you can see now the stitch that it's forming and how they're all just going in the reeds. So if you're a little worried, just look where your stitch is going, and if it's inside the previous V, you're in the right place. This is the other side of it, so as you can see, the other side, if I turn it up the right way, is quite pretty as well, and I'd actually use it this side as well. I don't know if you can tell, but there are V's on this side, but they're slightly tilted, but they are there. So you should be creating V's on both sides, but obviously this one being the correct. Oh, I twisted it the wrong way and got it the wrong way. Let's do that. There we go. Get the crochet the right way around again. Sorry. So to finish off is just like any other crochet. So you're just going to go into your stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then slip stitch. So sorry. So yeah, slip stitch, yarn over, pull through, snip your yarn, pull it through, and then you can secure that off. I'm not going to snip it because this is a sample piece and I can reuse it. You know, don't waste any yarn. So you just snip that, pull that through, and then you just weave in your ends, and you'll end up with this fabulous headband, which, as you noticed, I haven't actually woven that end yet. But it's really simple, so you just do what I just did. This is the finished part, so you see it's really scored. It doesn't come apart once you've done that, so you just have to weave in your end. But these were test pieces, so I didn't bother weaving too much. I wove that end in, but I haven't done that end yet. But so it's really simple. And as I said, if you want a slightly different edging on the cap, as you can see, hopefully, I did a slip stitch all the way around the brim. It just gives it a little firmer because I found the hat was a little, I prefer snug around the brim but more give in the top, so I always do a slip stitch around the edge. So you can do any edging you like really. Any basic crochet edging will work on this. It's just as well as it works on the normal stitch of crochet. So, but I think they make really pretty, and if you can see, they are really quite a thick, warm thing. And even though you've used that 6mm hook and gone loosely on a DK weight yarn, you can clearly see that it's not holey at all. It's really quite thick and cozy, so it's really super warm for this cold weather. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so it's pretty simple, and I hope that you lot will be able to make it, but just pop down. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me, I'm so sorry. Just pop any questions down in the comment section below and I will try to answer them. If there's anything you're unsure on, I can try to do another video if needs be. If you prefer to see me doing this stitch in like a chunkier yarn so it's bigger, then just ask and I'd be more than happy to do it in a bigger, chunkier yarn for you to really see where we're putting those V's. But hopefully you will enjoy it, and I will have the messy bun hat. We can come out some. So you've got the headband. I will do the messy bun hat really soon. I quite like it. It's the first messy bun hat I've ever made, so I'm not sure on the size of the hole you need, but that's easily adjustable. I'll explain that when I do the pattern. And see, the decreases are really quite simple. And then obviously there is the wrist warmers, which I will also do, which has increases in it. So you'll learn decrease and increase, but it's just basically the same. But that one, and you'll have an entire set to do. Hopefully there will be a cowl to come with it soon. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you all soon. So check back for more tutorials. You'll take care. Bye.